everyone, it's Tammy, and today I'm going to make 3 different cards with you using this Blossoms in Bloom set from Stampin' Up. It is so versatile, fun to use. I would highly recommend it. Or something like this where it has a sentiment or sentiments which are kind of nice. It has get well soon, happy birthday, I like you a lot, thinking of you, sure do miss you, thank you, and hello. And then it has just a really pretty stamp that you just have to do in one color, and then you can do another color for the middle of the flowers. But I mean, seriously, it's super easy. And then you can also get it with the dies, and there are 2 big dies, and I have used this one for today's cards. So I used this die for all 3 of today's cards, and then I used some of the little ones as well. So this one cuts an outline, and this one cuts the black underneath it, and I was like, oh man, that is something. I like that. And then I thought I'd probably like the opposite too, so I figured out something to do with black on white. So I hope that you like these. We're going to go ahead and get started. I might do this one first because it's actually the hardest one. So maybe I'll go hardest to easiest. And none of them are hard. This one just entails some heat embossing. And so does this one, but I've already actually heat embossed those. But I didn't heat emboss these because I wanted you guys to see it. And honestly, these are really easy. So let's just go ahead and do it in this order. So the first card I'm going to make is a white on white, and then it has lace trim, and then embossed flowers, embossed flower here, and then I put a couple pearls around and some gold twine. So hopefully you guys can see all of that. I hope I still have my gold twine now that I said that. I don't know where it is. Oh, here it is. I do have it. Okay, so I started out with an A2 sized envelope, A2 sized card. So that's an 8.5 by 11 that I cut down to 4.25 by 8.5. Actually, no, I did this one different. I did this one 4.25 by 11, and then I made it a top fold card because then I cut it in half. And I am looking for one more flower because I have 3 flowers on there and I only have 2 flowers here. I do have my hello already embossed, and I have some lace, 2 different kinds of lace, and I should have another flower. So let me just double check my other envelopes. Maybe I have, oh, here. I have some in here, and I don't think I even needed any for this card. So let me just get the 3rd one. There we go. I'll just leave those in there for now. Alright, so honestly, this card is so easy, it's almost hard to even say it's a card, but I think you can see this better on there. But see all the details that die cuts out? It's really phenomenal. I did put a shim in with it to make sure that it cut all the little intricate pieces. So you may do that if it doesn't quite cut all the way and you're thinking, oh gosh, some of these pieces are really hard to get out. Then try to cut it again using a shim, and hopefully that will help. That helped with mine. So if that happens, try that. And I'm just going to put the white on the white. And I can see that I did not fold this card very straight, so I'm going to go ahead and refold it by holding it together like this, and then taking my bone folder. There we go. That's a lot better. And since there's not much to this card, I need it to be as pretty as possible. And I'm just going to put it like that. Now for this kind of a card, I either like liquid glue, or I really like these glue pens when I'm doing this kind of a intricate process. And I can just go in here and just color on. And I just kind of do it pretty quickly and just try to get as much of the little pieces as I can. I'm really weird about trying to get all of it. I like all of it glued. Because one of my fears is that it would get caught in the envelope and rip or something like that. I don't know. And sometimes, like that one did rip a little bit, but if you just stick it together, nobody will ever see that. So I know I can fix it, but, and not always can you fix it if you rip it, but you know what I mean. You can kind of hide it if you have to or whatever. Not include that part on the card. But it's no fun to do it and you've given it to someone and they accidentally do it because they don't know what to do, and you, I don't know, you like to present your best work. Talking and gluing might not be my forte, but let's say I think I got it all. So now I'm just going to find a spot where I like it and stick it on here. Now when I was cutting it out with the die cut, there was a little part right here that didn't that got cut off, so I'm using that to put against my straight edge. It actually worked out fine because the card is so, or the die is so big that it fits almost the whole card. And then I like to just turn it over and use the side of the card to kind of jupe it together, make sure it's sticking real well. And I'm going to get a baby wipe because I wasn't careful with my glue, which is fine. I wouldn't expect that I would be. I'm just going to take my baby wipe and pick up all that mess. And then I'm going to turn this over and just kind of take a peek at it. If there's some places that don't look like they have very much glue, I'll go back in and try to re-glue it. And that happens sometimes. Don't feel like you messed up or anything if that happens. I mean, goodness, this one's peeling up really well. If I wanted to peel it, the whole thing off, I think I could. Look at this. And I know I glued it. You guys saw me. So I'm just picking up the side. It seems to be easier to do it that way than it was the other way because I have to kind of re-glue some of these. Okay, let's see how that works. So the only stamping on this card was actually the hello. Isn't that funny? And I did a hello, and then I also did one of the little flowers. I thought that was really cute. There we go. That looks pretty good. Now I do want to emboss those flowers, so let me show you how I did that. I take a little piece of scrap paper, and then I take my flowers. I'm going to take my glue pen again, and I'm just going to color each one of these pretty well with the glue. And I probably shouldn't have done this on my scrap paper. I should have done this on my, I'm a dingbat, I should have done it on my glass table, and then, because now that embossing powder will also stick to the glue that's on here. So I'm going to get a separate piece of scrap paper. Well, if I can find something, this should work. I'm just going to put these on here. And I like to use my tweezers. And I'm going to take my gold embossing powder or whatever color you want to use. And I'm just going to cover it up. With embossing powder. And if you don't like the way it covered and you want to cover it again, you certainly can. Lots of times I cover things twice, but I think that the flowers look alright if they aren't covered twice. I think it's fine. Because I don't care if a little bit of the white shows through. And then I'm going to take, because all of this embossing powder that's left over, can be reused. Put it back in here. Okay, and then I'm going to put that back. And then what I do is I turn on my heat gun and let that warm up for about 30 seconds or so. And this is just a regular heat gun that I got this one from Stampin' Up, but you can get them from the hardware store even. It's fine. That's what I used for a long time before I got one. And then it is handy to have a set of tweezers that's kind of long so that you can hold it out, and then you let the air hit the embossing powder and it will melt. And you can hopefully see it changing the color from a dull, kind of a matte gold into a shiny, bright, glossy looking gold. Hey babe. Okay. I love you too. Hi. My kids just came. So see how that changes color? I'm just going to do that for all three of them. Yay, I love embossing. I mention this probably every time I emboss, but this is the first technique that I learned in stamping, and it is still one of my absolute favorites. Yay! So then once you have those embossed, that embossing powder is stuck on and it won't come off, and it's really just kind of cool. Now sometimes it gets a little bit on your tweezers when you're holding your tweezers, and you can just kind of peel it off. It's like little pieces of plastic that just melt. So I don't know, I think it's a cool technique. I love it. And then I have two different kinds of ribbon because I wasn't sure which one. I used this one on the first one, and I like that a lot. I have this one too though that I had in my stash, and I just keep ribbon when I have a little bit left. Like, let's say I use this one and I'll have this much left, I will keep this and I just keep it in a baggie, so when I need just a little bit of something, I have it. So I mean, if I had just this much left or whatever, I would probably throw that away. I would throw that away, but this I'm gonna keep whatever size. Now like this one, let's see, if I use this one, would I keep? I would, because it's enough to make a whole other card if I wanted to. But I think I'm going to go ahead and use this one. And I like to use my tape runner when I am using something like this. And I'm just going to go straight across to make kind of a straight line. I don't know if it will actually be a straight line, but it's close. And I'm not too worried about it. I'm going to take my ribbon and start it on the end. And then just kind of pull it taut and stick it down. And then just going to trim it right off. Now this is a lace ribbon and I don't need to do anything else to it. If I wanted to, if I was using a different kind of ribbon, like one of the gross gain ribbons or whatever, gross grain ribbons, I could like heat up the edge with my lighter and it would make it so that it wouldn't run or wouldn't fray. That's the word I'm looking for. So now I'm going to go ahead and use this, but before I put that down, I want to put some of my gold twine. I almost forgot. So I'm just going to take off a hefty amount. That looks pretty good. And I'm just going to trim it. And then for this, my little secret to this isn't really a secret at all, but I take a glue dot and put it down, and then I start my thread on that glue dot. And then I just kind of wrap it, and every time I go around, I just stick it back on that glue dot. And I don't care if it goes crazy or does whatever it wants to do, because it's kind of what it's going to do anyway. This one is twisted though. I'm just pulling it so it's not twisted. There. So I'm just kind of looping it and putting it down, looping it and putting it down. And I'm just putting it down over that glue dot. And then I don't like the ends to show if I can help it. So I will take them and put them on the glue dot. There we go, something like that. And then I'm just going to take my regular glue to glue this down. And then I'm going to use pop dots to glue the flowers down. So let's see. Just glue that down, and then I just need 3 pop dots. My son is getting things from his room for his place. It's just part of the paper from one of the other flowers. You can put these wherever you want. And I'm using a glue dot on this one, and there's holes on the top, so I just take my thumb and or my finger, whatever, just kind of rub it on there until that's no longer sticky. And then I thought some little pearl accents would be really cute. So what did I do with those here? There. I have these little pearls. And these came from Stampin' Up. I don't know if they still sell these or not. I used to sell Stampin' Up. I used to be a demonstrator, so that's why I have a lot of Stampin' Up stuff. I mean, they do have good quality product, but it is kind of pricey. So I know that they used to have these at Hobby Lobby too. I'm sure they still do. I just haven't had to purchase any for a while, so I haven't. But I'm just putting a couple of little pearls down. And how cute are they? Done. I'm going to take a drink. I wonder if I can finish all the cards before my kids come down. Well, my kid. I think I hear them. Okay, so this one is a black card with a white background with a black layer, and then the white die cut out from the die. Isn't that so cute? And then I did just use a one of the framelit ovals to make the oval. I used this one, so it's the second smallest to make the oval, and then I did heat emboss thank you in silver, and then I used some black ribbon to put on this one because I thought that it needed a little something something, so I used the black ribbon for this one. So let me, and then you open it up to white cardstock on the inside. So let's look at how we can do this. So this is actually the paper that I used for the shim to cut these a little better. And this is the same exact paper. I don't know if you can see the difference, but using it as the shim, it totally smoothed this out, and it even made it a thinner cardstock than this is. It feels a lot thinner, but it's the exact same paper. I just used it as a shim, and I thought it was kind of neat. It looks shiny and glossy, and I thought, ooh, that's kind of cool. So that's what I'm used to layer. So because I had it as like a 6x6 sheet when I was using it as a shim, so then I just cut it down to size. So, okay, good. I was thinking I didn't have both of them, but I do. Okay, I have this is an A2 size card, 4.5 by 5.25 when it's folded. So then I have this cut, this first layer is cut at 4 by 5.25. So this will go straight on here on the inside. And then I have a 4 by 5.25, and then this one is 3 3/4 by 5. So it's a layer smaller. And I am going to glue this one on. I'm not going to glue the whole thing on quite yet because I want to put the ribbon all around it. I didn't do that on my first one, and I wish that I had after I'd stuck this down. Oops, I mean, it's not a huge big deal, but I'm just going to put that down, center it in the middle of the card front. And then I'm taking my image and putting that on there. And this is going to be a little smaller because, and I know I said I like to use the pen, but I'm trying to be fast. And that pen seemed, unless I got a ton of ink on it, or glue on it, it seemed to not want to stick very well. I used it the first time though and it seemed fine, so I don't know. It's just because when it's Murphy's Law, when you show somebody things that can go wrong do go wrong. Which is kind of good because I think that gives us all a learning opportunity. But it's also kind of crummy because you're expecting it to go one way and it goes another. But that's life. Such is life. So anyway, I don't know what I was talking about when I stopped talking, when I started talking about the glue, but oh, this die is made to fit the front of a 4.25 by 5.5 card, and because I trimmed it down my layers, it's going to stick off of the layers, but I thought it was kind of neat, and I just left the card that size, or the die that size. I didn't trim it off, so it sticks off the edges of this, which I think looks kind of neat. So I'm just going to find a place that I like it and put it down. And this glue will dry clear, so even if it's not quite clear right yet, it will dry clear. So that's what I mean, how it's sticking off the edges, which I think is kind of cute. And then I'm going to find, I'm out of my black ribbon that I used up there, so I'm going to use this ribbon instead. And I'm just going to put a piece around it. Let's see, maybe right there. And to do this, I just cut a piece, and then I use regular tape most of the time when I'm doing a card like this or a ribbon like this. And I just turn my card front around and just tape it down. And then bring it around. And tape it down here too. So this could be the top. I did the top up there. I was thinking the bottom when I was doing this, so I'm going to keep this one at the bottom, but this one is at the top and this one will be at the bottom. Either way, it's a-okay. And then I'm just going to take my glue, or you can use your tape runner, which I may have to use if my glue is out. I have more, but I try never to run out of this because I love this art glitter glue. It's my favorite. And then I'm just going to stick this down here. And if I need to trim some off, if it sticks out too far, I will, but I got lucky that last time, so maybe I'll get lucky this time too. Oh, this one sticks out just a little bit right here. So I will cut that off. There we go. Just the tiniest bit. There we go. That's all. And then I am going to use some glue to put my thank you down. And again, I heat embossed that with some silver embossing powder. And then I had some extra ribbon that I just tied into a bow. Do. Sometimes the bows can be the hardest part. Sure, I tied it into a bow. This is, I think it's called bias tape, and it's not the easiest kind of ribbon to work with. I used it on my next card too. I probably have some other black ribbon, and I probably should have chosen that, but because this is not the easiest stuff to make a bow out of, in my opinion. But, you know, I'm using what I have, and I've already gotten it out, and I'm just determined to do it. So bear with me just a little minute longer. That might be good. All right, let's cut off these ends. I'm just going to cut it straight, I think. Still don't particularly love it, but that's all right. Trim it just a little bit more. And use a glue dot. Put this down. And stick my bow down. And then on this one I used some rhinestones. And I just put a couple around the sentiment. I have different sizes, so I'm using, this is a tiny one. And I don't know if this is a different size or not, but it's at a different place, so it might be. And there we go. There's card number 2. I think that turned out really cute too. I love the black and white together. It's so pretty. I think it's just stunning. All right, so one more to go. And this one is the easiest of all, I think. And it just has some ribbon and half of the die. And it's just, again, on an A2 sized card with some rhinestones. So I have half of a die here, I have some ribbon, and I even have an extra one of these. I wasn't sure if I was going to use it or not, but I'm just going to use the half to show you how it works, especially since Alex is upstairs. I want to be able to say hello to him. So I just am going to put this down like this, and then I'm going to use my ribbon to put over it. But one thing that the bias ribbon will do is it will kind of ruche a little bit, like get crumply, and I'll show you how I did that. So first let me go ahead and stick this down, if I can. Silly glue. This die is really fun to play with. I mean, once I got the extra shim in there, and because at first I was struggling to get all the pieces out, but then when I did it better with the right amount of pressure and it cut it out super great, it was a lot of fun. I kind of like the what do they call it? The weeding of getting all the little pieces out. I don't like weeding the garden, but I don't mind weeding paper or vinyl. So I'm just going to put that down so that it's kind of straightish down here. And this is the other half of one die. So you can make 2 cards with one die. And then what I do is you take your bias and you find some in the middle, and you just kind of hold on to that middle couple of strands of ribbon. If you guys can see this, maybe if I put it over the white it would be a little easier. And then I'm just kind of holding that and just stretching out the ribbon so that it moves down. And it makes it kind of cool, like a little ruffly. And it's kind of a pain a little bit, which, you know, sometimes crafting is, but it's alright. Sometimes you can get it and it just works and you're like, oh yay, I pulled it and it works. Sometimes you can get it and you can pull it straight out, so, you know, who knows which situation you might run into. So I just try to do it kind of a little bit at a time, but you can see how it's ruched up. I don't know if that's the right word or not, but I think that gets the hint anyway. And then once I have it ruched up the way I want it, I'm again going to take my tape runner and run it along the bottom. And then I'll take my ruched and I'm going to start it at one end, and I'm just going to try to carefully place it down on the tape. So I didn't need to ruche a lot, just as much to get it across the front of the card. And then once I have it all on there the way I want, which I don't know if that's exactly the way I want, let me pull this up a little bit and put it back down. If there's any of my tape still showing, the thing with the A to G, you can kind of just rub it away, which is neat. And then I'm going to trim the ends off. Yay, isn't that cute? And then I'm going to take some rhinestones and just put them wherever. And I like odd numbers, so I'm doing 3 of the big ones, and then I'm going to do 3 of the small ones, which then in turn makes it an even number, but I don't know, I think it looks alright. I couldn't decide if it needed any more, but then when I looked at it again, I think it looks great. So, but do however many you want and whatever color you want. But I liked, since it was black and white, I liked the diamond color, the clear. Oops. These are so tiny. I think on the other card I may have used the bigger ones, not these tiny, tiny ones, but oh well. On this one, I'm using the tiny, tiny ones. There we go. And there is the last card. Isn't that cute? And so easy. So, so easy. So here we go again with all 3 of the cards. I hope that this inspired you. I hope that you guys try something new, try something crafty. And I'm going to do some more of these cards using the stamp. I might even try to do some with the other die, but I have so many things in my head, so I don't know if I'm going to get to all of it, but trust me, you guys can't go wrong with that stamp set and die set too. I mean, I have these extras too. I didn't even use these. I don't know, I can use these for something else because I have black and white. Alright, well thanks for watching, and I hope that you guys have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.